Now, everybody believes that exercise is good for you, right? I mean, everybody knows exercise. I mean, the government tells you this. Doctors tell you this. Universities tell you this. Everybody tells you, ministers tell you exercise is good for you. But with the exception of 3 black gentlemen from the old Negro Baseball League days, there's never been a professional athlete ever lived to be 100. The average lifespan of professional athletes is 62. The average lifespan of a professional couch potato is 75. You gain 3 years in longevity, 13 years. You gain 13 years, say my math, 13 years in longevity by not exercising. And I said, yes, okay. Now, but see, there's a little bit of a funny thing here. Exercise without supplementation to replace what you sweat out is dangerous. But if you replace what you're sweating out, you're okay. Now, you have to appreciate that sweat is not just water. When people say, hydrate, drink plenty of water when you exercise. On hot days when you're sweating, drink plenty of water. That's only 2% of what you need to do. Because sweat is not water. Sweat is a soup that contains all the nutrients circulating in your blood. If you're just drinking water, oops, you're soon in the negative. Why do these $2 million a game professional athletes get Charlie horses, and they get cartilage problems and tendon problems and ligament problems? They have personal trainers, they have dietitians and nutritionists, and they have team doctors. And yet they're a mess. And they exercise, and they exercise, and they exercise because they're sweating out all these nutrients. They're drinking water and sports drinks with 2 nutrients in it. Oops. Okay, next. Well, the Journal of the American Medical Association in 1977 immediately endorsed Jim Fixx's book, and it became an instant bestseller, that previous slide you saw. And so they had to do their due diligence there, and they said, because 5 years after he wrote that book, he died at age 52 of a heart attack while he was running. Bam! He just dropped dead. Now, he was training for the Olympics, doing the marathon, and he just drops dead at 52. So the Journal of the American Medical Association did a study, and they said, oops, we chose wrong. Oh. Because when they investigate, they said, while running, a man's risk of heart attack death increases by 700%. While running, a man's risk of heart attack death increases by 700%. Now, that will only be true, and that's what was written there. That was in Runner's World magazine. Now, that will only be true if you don't supplement with all the things you're sweating out. If you're supplementing with all those things you can sweat out, you can exercise and be safe. Let's go to the next one. Let's go to the next one. Let's stop there. That's Reggie Lewis, captain of the Boston Celtics. 28 years old, collapsed during a playoff game with the Charlotte Hornets back then. They're the what are they now? They're not the Hornets. Bobcats, yeah, thank you. And he collapsed, and he was diagnosed quite correctly with the disease called cardiomyopathy heart disease, which is, unknowns to doctors, it's a simple deficiency of the trace mineral selenium. And so they gathered up the top 12 cardiologists in the whole world and said, look, we want you to replace Reggie's heart. We want you to give him a heart transplant so we can get him back out in the court. That was the goal. And so they got this dream team together, and 2 weeks while they were arguing who was going to be the chosen one, who was going to be the lead surgeon, who was going to be history, famous, he collapses and dies from a second cardiomyopathy heart attack. Okay, now we can go to the next one. A year and a half later, the captain of the dream team of cardiology, one Dr. W. Thomas Nessa, who taught cardiology at Harvard Medical School, ran the Boston Marathon every year. He was the captain of the dream team of cardiologists who was trying to save Reggie Lewis. Bam! He drops dead at age 48. From the same thing, cardiomyopathy heart attack. Now, if he were my cardiologist, I don't have a cardiologist, but if he were my cardiologist and he said that salt was bad and he died at 48 of a heart attack, I'd go around town, I'd collect every salt shaker. I'd be packing salt in my ears. I'd be giving myself salt enemas. I'd be just putting under my arms and holding, I'd be tracking salt everywhere, right? If he said eggs were bad, I'd be eating 25 eggs a day. If he said exercise was good, I would lay in bed and I wouldn't even blink. I wouldn't do nothing that that resembled motion. Okay, next please. Now with the information you're armed with now, this young woman here, Ronalda Pierce, got an academic and an athletic scholarship to Florida State University. She was 6'5", 19 years old. She could do the Air Jordan thing. She could do the air walk, you know, and slam dunk a ball. The WNBA was already putting millions and millions of dollars of endorsement money into a fund for her and begging her not to go to college. She said, no, I'm going to get my degree. And halfway through her freshman year, a day after finishing a weekend game, she drops dead at age 19 of a ruptured aortic aneurysm, just like Albert Einstein. What did she die from? A copper deficiency. A copper deficiency. And she had team doctors and team nutritionists, and she had personal trainers, but she didn't have the raw materials that her body needed. Okay, next, please. Now, Theo Ratliff, he's one of the guys here from Atlanta, played for the Atlanta Hawks. His personal career was over 10 years ago when I first met him. He had bone-to-bone arthritis at 28 years old. He had bone-to-bone arthritis in both knees. He actually had cartilage popped off his hip, and he caught a ball during a game and fractured his wrist. To make a long story short, I rebuilt him 8 years ago, and he's made $140 million since his career was over. Just with vitamins and minerals, no joint replacements. Remember Bo Jackson? He chose poorly. He had double knee replacements, or double hip replacements, I guess it was. Now everybody says, Bo who? But see, Theo, this is his 16th year in the NBA, the longest running NBA player ever. And he is so old and decrepit at 38 years of age that the LA Lakers just drafted him.